Hey there everyone, it's Kirsten here with TwinTalksBallet. Today I have a video that is a little bit different from my usual advice-oriented video theme. I just wanted to share some really cool experiences that I was very fortunate to have during my years at the University of Utah. I was there for 3 years, by the way, and at the end of my sophomore/junior and then senior years, I was very fortunate to be able to go to first Budapest, Hungary, or Budapest as they say there, and then the last year I was at the U, I went to Lviv, Ukraine. Both trips were a week long and they were experiences I will never ever forget, and I just wanted to share my stories about those places and those trips with you on the internet, because I think especially for all my American viewers, it's really cool. Well, really, if you're from any country, it's really cool to be able to have your eyes opened to how another culture appreciates and sees the art of dance. Now, I went to both of those places specifically for character or folk dancing, so I was there to learn their national traditional dances. So like the Csárdas in Hungary, or Csárdas, people have different ways of saying it. And when I went to Ukraine, we learned about 4 or 5 different dances within the time of 1 week. So that was really crazy. I couldn't even remember enough to tell you like all the different dances we learned there. It was just so much information. But anyway, today I'll be sharing my stories of my week in Budapest and also some pictures. I just thought this would be a fun way to just show you the things that I really loved about that place and the things I learned as far as dance. I didn't only do character dance, I also did ballet every day in both of those places. So I'm just going to talk about my experience and kind of reveal some of the differences I noticed that I really came to appreciate in both of those cultures. So the reason I was able to go to both of those places was because of this program at the University of Utah called Character Dance Ensemble. It's like it kind of goes on and off between running like a class and then also a student run club. But anyway, regardless of that structure, that kind of changes every now and then. We were able to fundraise, and at the end of every year in May, or every school year, after the spring semester, we would take a week-long trip to a different country to learn their national dances and learn some repertoire for our folk dance performances that we would take back to the US and repeat for years and years and years. So I was able to go, like I said, to Ukraine and Hungary, but the group would perform repertoire from, I think, like Spain, Russia. There was a Sevillanas from South America. Yeah, so many different dances, and it was such a pleasure. It was really fun to be a part of that. I really loved it. So anyway, I'll just get into my experience dancing in Hungary. So first off, I'll say I had no idea what to expect. I was really pushing for the group to go to Poland, which eventually I got to go there this year anyway, so that was really neat. Mostly because Poland has a very rich history with folk dancing. I was hoping to go there, and then the group decided that we would end up going to Budapest, and so I was like, okay, I never really thought I would want to go there, but I'm open to whatever because I'm really into traveling, and honestly, any place new is a place I want to go. So I was still excited. I just had zero expectations. And the second we got there, I don't know why it had not occurred to me to really think about the name of the school that we would be going to, because obviously I'd heard of Hungarian National Ballet, but I thought, oh, we're gonna go to like a character dance school, it's probably not gonna be a huge deal or anything. No, we ended up going to the Hungarian Dance Academy, which is a school under the Hungarian National Ballet, so it's a big deal. And the second I walked in there, it just felt like such an honor, really amazing. I'd actually met dancers from the school when I was dancing at Houston Ballet in the summer when I was pretty young, and I remember how talented they were, and so instantly when I realized where we were going, I was just so excited. So what we did is we danced every day for an hour and a half. We had ballet and then an hour and a half of character, and we also had a performance there that we did in front of the students at the school. And the structure changes every year. Like in Ukraine, we danced a lot more than that, but this time that's all we did. But it ended up being great because we had plenty of time to sightsee and enjoy the city. So I loved it. It was a great balance. And the ballet classes were really cool. They really weren't anything that I wasn't used to. It was just really neat to have different teachers, and both of the ladies who taught us were so nice and they spoke English. So anyway, ballet was cool, but nothing too different than what I experienced in the US. And the character dance classes, we kind of joked that it was like Hungarian Zumba, because in the traditional Hungarian folk dances, it's really crazy because the men seem to be the ones who are doing a lot of the crazy tricks and the footwork, the stomping, and it's extremely impressive. I really encourage you to look at videos. One night we got to see a performance by a local folk dance company, and I'm not even kidding you. I like started to tear up during one part because the company was comprised of dancers of quite a range in ages, and there was this one guy with a mustache and gray hair, and he must have been in his 50s or something like that, but he was killing it. Like the stomping and the footwork he was doing was just insane, and everyone was clapping and singing on stage, and I was just so blown away by the way that the Hungarians just have such a pride for their national dances. And it's not something that just the older generations are proud of, but the younger ones as well. And that was really different as an American, where our culture is very divided between young and old. Like, our parents like different songs and we make fun of them for that because we like our new music. No, they're regarding the traditional dancing, I even met students who partnered with us. Like, they had some guys come in the last day and partner with us with the dance we were learning. And I was talking to my partner, and he was a talented ballet dancer, but there at the school, he was also training in folk dance, or character dance. And he told me that he would prefer to go into a character company instead of ballet, and that just blew my mind, because as an American, all I'm around are people who just want to do ballet, and everything else is kind of secondary. Even if they cared about jazz at one point or something like that, it's like, oh, ballet is a career, I'm gonna do that. But there, they could go either way, and both art forms are very well respected. So I was just really in a lot of admiration for just the way that they had respect for the long-running traditions of their culture that are involved in dance. So that was really neat. And also about the city, it was absolutely beautiful. I have such a special place in my heart now for Central Europe and Eastern Europe after these trips that I've taken, because they're not untouched by tourism, but it's definitely not a super touristy place. Like, Budapest is definitely more touristy than Lviv, Ukraine, but because of like river cruises going through on the Danube River, but it's still so clean, and I never felt once that anything I did there was dumbed down for me as a tourist. I really felt like I was there experiencing the way of life that people actually live there. Obviously, not everyone there goes out looking at monuments every day or eating at nice restaurants or, sightseeing and doing all that stuff, but it's a part of life, and enjoying life is definitely important there. That's why I love Europe in general. It's not to say Americans don't know how to enjoy life, but there is much less of a work-life balance, and I could go on and on about that. But anyway, there's just this feeling that life is to be enjoyed, and you do it around other people you love, and I just thought it was such a special experience, especially after going places that are just run over by tourists. Like, I've been to Versailles, and that was a super disappointing experience, actually, just because everything in that place was rearranged and just downtrodden by the millions of people who visit it every year. So it was very hard for me or it's hard for me in any place I go like that, where you're looking at something behind a layer of plastic or a glass wall or a window or something like that. It's just hard to realize that it was once very authentic and someone was there experiencing something very real at that place that now makes it remarkable to people. It was just hard to imagine it when you feel like you're just in a museum at all times. So I don't know if that makes sense, but here or there in Budapest, I just felt like I was there almost as a fake Hungarian, just enjoying life the way the people do. But anyway, moving on about some other things I really loved about the week. Our performance that we did for the school was really, really a special experience. First off, because there was no clock in the theater when we were rehearsing, and we did class, we had a run through of our show that we came with like 7 or 8 dances that we had already prepared and made a little show out of it. So we're doing a run through on stage, and then I think the director of the school was the one who was like guiding us around and helping us navigate what we were doing there, and she was like, "Oh, are you guys ready for your show?" And we had just finished our run through and it was really tiring, so we were like, okay. And so we like ran, put our costumes on, immediately went into the performance that we already had just rehearsed, and we were so sweaty. But I do want to, before I finish this part of the story, I do want to preface that with saying that the first or second day we were there, the dancers at the school, they put on a show for us and did the dances that they learned at their school, and it was amazing. Like, we were all just like, dang it, now we have to perform for them, and that's going to be kind of awkward because we specialize in ballet, not folk dance, so we're kind of intimidated. But when we performed, we realized that our rep was so different because we didn't have any guys. Like I said, the focus in Hungary, a lot of their dances focus on the tricks that the guys do, and we didn't have anything like that. It was just all of us girls doing a lot of tricks that maybe the guys did, minus stomping. We didn't do a lot of that. Or stomping is probably not the technical term, forgive me, but I hope you know what I mean. The intricate footwork and all that. We had some of it, but anyway, so we did our performance, and I don't know if they were just being nice or they were just so blown away because they aren't used to necessarily like a lot of girls doing all that stuff. They would not stop clapping. They started doing like the clapping in unison thing and the stomping, and it got faster, and they had us like come out and do another bow, and my heart was just so full when we did that. It was just such a cool moment because we appreciated them and what they do so much, and they were showing us appreciation back. That was just extremely special. And getting to talk to some of the students, they were so nice and they really wanted to get to know us. And I even was like Facebook messaging some of the people that I met there after I left just to talk to them some more. And there were 2 girls in particular when we were touring the school on the first day who just wanted to get to know us and talk to us. And I was talking about where I trained, and I mentioned Houston Ballet, and they were like, "Oh, Houston Ballet, oh my goodness, they know." And I'm not saying I assumed that they didn't know. I just didn't want to be so full of it that I'm like, oh, everyone knows what Houston Ballet is, you know, it's so far away from Hungary. But yeah, they knew what it was, and we were talking, and anyway, it was just such a neat experience. We felt very welcomed. And another night, during our time off, we decided, as it was recommended to us, that we were going to visit a folk dance hall. And it was kind of like a social dance club, kind of. We figured it out once we got there. Of course, we were late, and we showed up, and here we are, like 10 Americans. So weird. Like, I was wearing Sperry's because I couldn't like bring my dance stuff around with me all day. So I'll insert some pictures. It was such a hoot. Like, a lot of people spoke English when we were there, but not at this place. And we were there, and I didn't realize, or none of us realized when we bought the tickets and went in, that the people who were participating in this club and taking the classes were building upon what they learned every single week, and they had started like weeks and weeks prior to when we showed up. So they were like, okay, let's go, let's do this, except no one spoke English and we just couldn't figure it out, and everything was done in phrases of 10 counts, which obviously for a ballet dancer, that's like, what the heck is going on? It was crazy, and we definitely had some partners laughing at us, and every time you had to like switch partners with a different guy. And there were definitely some like very old, very, 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 very sweaty guys, and it was kind of awkward because, you know, like no one really wanted to switch, but you had to not be rude, and there were definitely people like laughing at my selection in footwear. But it was such a fun time. Definitely something I will never forget, because we had no idea what we were getting into, but we just danced and just made it work and laughed. Another thing that I really loved about the city was the food. I'm super into food tourism and getting a feel for the culture by eating my way through it. And first, everything was very affordable there. Like Central and Eastern Europe are great places to go because they're very affordable. And we were able to get like really nice dinners, having like duck and beef and like fancy chicken dishes and things like that, for like what would be a casual dinner price in America. So I loved that, and I loved their food there. It wasn't extremely heavy like say German or Czech food. Like that stuff I feel like it can just burn a hole straight through my stomach, but it was absolutely delicious. They had pastries and just so many delicious things to eat, and like I said, the city was beautiful, it was clean. I would absolutely go back there in a heartbeat. Another highlight of the week, as I feel like if you've seen one or two of my videos at this point, you have an idea that I really love cats. I'm just gonna put in some pictures from first when we visited the cat cafe in Budapest. We saw this when we were walking around a certain district, and I had convinced my entire group to revisit that place on another day when we had time. It was a highlight of my week. Seriously, oh, just hanging out with the cats, having a latte. Oh, it was perfect. They also had a cat cafe in Ukraine. I found that as well. I definitely Google searched that before I went, and neither disappointed whatsoever. It was quite amazing. And then also at our hotel, I loved our hotel. The people there were so friendly, and the breakfast was always amazing. And they had this hotel cat that would just hang out in the garden. And on the last night, we decided to have dinner at the hotel, or the second to the last night. And this cat just befriended me and came into my lap, or maybe I lured it into my lap. That's more likely. And then I figured out, so I had a pina colada on the table because, of course, like that's like my favorite drink ever. And it was trying to get at my drink, but I just wanted to pet it. So it was there for the drink. I was there to pet the cat. It was a win-win. Like, I'll show you the pictures just so you can be fully convinced that I am a crazy cat lady. It was wonderful. Also, speaking of food, each day we had the lunch provided for us at the cafeteria at the Hungarian Dance Academy. It was like top notch, and I think it was like the equivalent of $260 in US dollars or something crazy like that. And it was a full meal. I don't know if like, I don't want to assume anything, but I saw the girls and boys at the school, like the dancers there, eating the lunch, and I don't know how they were so skinny. I don't know if they just dance a lot, don't eat the whole thing, I'm not sure, but it was like a pretty stick to your ribs kind of meal every day, like gourmet. It was wonderful. I loved it. Yeah, it was absolutely delicious and amazing. It's definitely an example of the kind of value you could get if you vacation there, like anywhere in Central Europe or Eastern Europe. It's really, really cool. Other things we did around the city were just looking at the monuments, the iconic Parliament building in Budapest. I didn't get to go inside, but just walking around the outside was really cool. You see it on like the Viking River cruise commercials and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely the iconic image of Budapest whenever you see one. We went to this island park that is in the middle of the Danube River. It was absolutely beautiful. And the last day, one of the most unique things we had done was go to a Roman bath. Now, Budapest is actually well known for both having one of the oldest running underground rail systems. That was really cool. I loved taking that every day. And then also they are known for their ancient Roman baths that still exist there. They have quite a few, and the one we went to was really neat because it was like underground. We went in there. Now when I say bath, it's like a public swimming pool, so there aren't like tons of naked people. Don't worry, it's not like that. It was so cool. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, just my whole week there was absolutely amazing. There was a castle there to see. It was just such an ideal place. I absolutely love it. I recommend it, and not just to see all those things, but to experience the joy and the pride that those people have in their country. I thought it was so admirable, just to see a people unified with how much they love their country. It was just such a beautiful thing to see and to experience, especially through the lens of dance, which, you know, it's cheesy, but it really is the universal language. Or a universal language, I should say. So anyway, I think I will stop this video right here and get back to you next time with my Lviv experience, and I'll tell you about what it was like to dance there. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you stayed to the end, thank you. I hope that you will give it a like or subscribe if you want to see more videos. I don't just do chatty videos like this, I also do tips and advice. So hopefully I will have something that you like to watch coming up. Anyway, bye!